Don't engage alone. We do this together.
Yeah!
Yeah!
We got it! We got
New 52 booklet.
it! Somebody clip this one.
Welcome to Justice League Rewatch. I'm Jared. I'm here with Nick from the Phoenix Press. What's up, brother?
Hey, Jared. Have you ever had a dream? And in that dream, you did some really crazy stuff?
Well, I have had dreams, but I just woke up with a bunch of questions. So, yes, thank you, Nick. So today we are talking about your...
See, this is why we're best friends. Because I can set up and he can pick up the ball and run with it and make it perfect. This is why we are such good content creators. Because we play off each other so well.
Dude, that just came to me. And like, as soon as you said, have you ever had a dream? I was about to say no, but I've woken up with a bunch of questions. But then you just went on, and I was like, actually, yes, that works. So we're talking.
There's just too many questions. Too many questions.
So we're talking about fearful symmetry, which. Okay, so this episode of Justice League, first off, the episode's awesome. I think we can both agree on that. That was great. So this centers around three Justice Leaguers: Supergirl, Green Arrow, who is awesome, who's hilarious in this one, and the Question, who is even more hilarious.
I really like seeing Supergirl in this because, like, she's quite the powerful girl.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, she's a real powerful gal.
Yeah.
So,
man, sorry, I tried to make a pun off of the obvious thing, but like I couldn't think of anything. So
yeah. So in other words, so this episode involves Supergirl is having these strange dreams where she's murdering people. Obviously, that's of concern. So she's having lunch with Green Arrow, and obviously they've struck up a friendship since, remember, they were on a mission together in the premiere episode.
And honestly, it makes sense. Like,
Mhm.
even though she's like a teenager, like their sensibilities are close enough that I could see them being friends.
And then Green Arrow says my absolute favorite line in the episode when he goes, "Oh yeah, I had some interesting dreams last night," as he looks over at Black Canary.
Yes, that was really great. And like,
oh my gosh,
my headcanon is she, like, Black Canary, like, knew, like, he was looking at her and she just like was not acknowledging it.
Yeah, because she probably saw him in the reflection of her laptop screen, but that was so good, just the way he did that. But so then they go to the Question, and the Question is basically what you would imagine all the he's a tin hat wearer, in other words, and I love that take on him.
I mean, he's the one who asks all the questions.
Yes, exactly. So essentially, they make a lot of callbacks to episodes of S-Task where Superman was brainwashed by Darkseid and invaded. That was a pretty dope episode. And apparently Supergirl was in a coma, and it's the idea either they put some type of chip in her that maybe they're controlling her, or she's blacking out or something like that. So they start investigating. At the same time, all of these scientists associated with Cadmus and stuff, that's a big hint, are going missing. And then we meet this general who basically implies that they cloned Supergirl, and that's what's happening. And the dreams are Supergirl has a mental link with that clone.
Wait, sorry, I have to do this. Send in the clone!
And by the way, did you notice that this clone looks an awful lot like Power Girl?
Boob window and everything.
I think that this is their way of doing Power Girl without going heavily into the multiverse portion of DC lore, because you kind of have to at this point. So I'm fine with it. It's pretty cool.
Because the problem is, if you have multiple cloned super people, it kind of becomes repetitive. So like you're either doing Superboy or you're doing what this is.
Plus, this hasn't done like the death of Superman, so there's no reason to do the whole for Superman thing.
Yeah, but like it makes a lot of sense that like after because like I mean, because Superman has always been seen as a threat, but like, oh, he's a good guy, he's on our side. But the invasion, most people will have forgiven him, but like, and even if the government does, we're like, what if Superman goes bad again? What if he gets brainwashed? Like, yeah, he's cool, he's on our side, and we trust him now. But what if he gets brainwashed again? Which is like, this is something you see in a lot of Superman fiction nowadays. Like, Superman and Lois actually deals with this issue a lot. And like, what if Superman goes rogue again? And like the countermeasures for it, and like Superman is naturally upset, but like the human angle, you can really understand why human beings, even ones that trust Superman, would develop weapons to harm him because yeah, we trust you, we like you, but you've gone rogue in the past. What are we gonna do if you go rogue again?
And there's also Zack Snyder with the whole Batman versus Superman moment. He has
the power to wipe out the entire human race, and if we believe there's even a 1% chance that he is our enemy, we have to take it as an absolute certainty.
Oh, and if you want to go down that route, BVS showed that like even if Superman is our ally, what if more Kryptonians show up? Yeah, Superman says he's the last Kryptonian.
Man of Steel.
We literally saw, Superman saw it. Yeah, Superman said he's the last Kryptonian. But like, what if another Kryptonian shows up and is evil? Like, yeah, Superman's cool. We like Superman. Superman wouldn't betray us. But what if other Kryptonians show up? So it's like,
what if he was mind controlled, a la Restore the Snyderverse? What I love the questions theory concerning actors elected to public office is probably a nod to Arnold Schwarzenegger, who was elected as the 38th governor of California almost 1 year before this episode aired.
And as someone who, as Justin likes to point out, is old, I remember that era very clearly. And yeah, there was like rumblings of, oh, is Arnold going to run for president? Like, I remember, like, there was propaganda being like, because here's the problem with, like, because Arnold is, like, to be a president, you have to be a natural-born citizen, i.e., born in the U.S. Arnold was born in Austria. So Arnold cannot become president. Like, I remember there were some talk about changing the laws so that a non-natural born citizen could run for office. Sorry, it's a lot of stuff, but, whatever.
And fun fact, also, Bruce Timm has stated that at the early stages of this episode's development were when the crew originally plotted this episode as having a more organized arc. In other words, instead of it being like very episodic.
So you mean like some sort of Cadmus arc?
Yeah, exactly. So this actually sets that up really well. And on that note, Galatea is actually what's interesting. In Greek myth, Galatea was a woman brought to life from a marble statue of the goddess Athena.
Man, from one power princess to another.
Jeez, don't even get me started.
How did you not pick that up?
No, I did.
Literally said
I did.
Athena.
I did. Well, because my Athena is not a ripoff of Wonder Woman. So moving on.
But it was too easy. You said Athena.
Yeah, exactly. So they investigate, and then eventually they like end up at this lab, and they find this like holographic, like they essentially enter a danger room. Essentially, they're in the danger room. They're in the danger zone on the highway to the danger zone. So then Supergirl and Galatea are fighting, and I love there's this fantastic shot in the episode where, and if I remember to do it when I'm editing, I'll put like a screenshot or like a clip of it right now. But it's when
Jared, please remember that.
Yeah, but it's when Supergirl and Galatea are fighting in the question, and Green Arrow just standing there watching. Because what are they gonna do?
Yeah, and I love how that one shot where like Ollie does an arrow. It's like, Ollie, unless the arrow has kryptonite in it, which I don't think Clark trusts you with kryptonite arrows. There's nothing you can do.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, oh, geez. But it's just that one shot of them watching. But it's really interesting. And I liked how I liked how this episode dealt with like those really vivid dreams that you're so sure actually happened, but they didn't. In other words,
All right.
what'd you think of that?
Have you ever had a dream, Neo, that you were so sure was real? What if you're unable to wake from that dream? How do you know the difference between the dream world and the real world? Sorry, I had to do it once.
Dweeb.
I love how like halfway through it, I could see you leaning forward. It's like I know what he's doing.
Yeah,
Hey,
exactly.
At least the speech was long enough to have you get to the clip.
Now, what's interesting, going back on Barry, this episode marks the question's first speaking appearance. Speaking of that, how hilarious was it when he's breaking into that building and he's humming pop music?
Fell in love again. What am I gonna tell my friends?
I mean, someone had to wake him up before he go.
Yeah, I know, and I love where he's in the cab and he goes, "What are your thoughts on the pop music?" And he goes, "I hate it," and then he starts playing it, and then filters in the knockout gas.
Oh, also, did you notice? There's a really quick shot where you see him without his mask.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's kind of like a blink and you miss a thing, but you actually do see him without his mask really quickly, and then the gas just goes, and it brings on his mask.
Yeah, I believe so. I think there is a part after he meets Huntress when he does when they do take the mask off.
Yeah, that's kind of the culmination of their relationship arc right there. But yeah,
and so what's kind of funny is that actually this again, if you pay attention, there in the same way that there was a Hawk Girl arc at the end of JL. Pay attention to when the question shows up in episodes because he teases some stuff.
Yeah, see what I like about the question in this is nowadays they like the question would just be like this right-wing Luno nut job, like all the bad stereotypes, But with him, he's like that classic conspiracy theorist character where everyone mocks him, but he's usually right.
And it turns out he's right. Yeah, exactly. That's the funny part. And so I hope you also noticed the intro of Dr. Emil Hamilton, which I believe that he's been in Superman comics for like decades and decades. So he's not a new character to the comics. He was in Man of Steel, though. He was the scientist who when they were interrogating Superman, he goes,
"My name is Dr.
Emil Hamilton. I know. I can see your ID tag in your breast pocket.
Along with a half-eaten roll of wintergreen lifesavers."
Yeah, Dr. Hamilton is a character that shows up in a lot of Superman-related media.
Mm-hmm. I think he was also in S-Task and everything like that. But and then they all so basically what happens is Galatea gets like knocked out. And then they think she got killed because the entire facility exploded. But then the ending shot of the episode is Galatea on the operating table of the coma, and Dr. Emil Hamilton is working to revive her. And this sets up the Cadmus arc later in the show.
Which fair enough, because like even if Galatea is not a full Kryptonian, he still was cloned from Kryptonian cells. So it makes sense that he's tough enough to at least survive that kind of thing.
Yeah, and well, of course, because immediately when I was thinking that, I'm like, unless that's red solar radiation, that's not going to do anything.
I don't know. Like you can make the argument that like the cells are not pure or whatever. They had to mix it with humans. Well, so like she doesn't have the full powers of Kryptonian. Like, you can make that argument.
Yeah, you could. And the other thing is that they did weaken Superman and Kryptonians in this series to make him more of a challenge, which I kind of love and hate that. I love it because, yeah, it does give Superman more of it makes it less like Superman could solve all this. But the problem is with that is that I don't know. There's certain parts of it that like don't sit well with me. What do you think?
I mean, yeah, that's fine. I mean, also to be fair, if literally that happened to Superman, like he would be like even like the Justice League Superman, he would have been unfazed.
Mm-hmm. And that could get into like how how she's a little weak. She's even weaker than Superman because she's cloned, so the DNA would be like diluted or something like that. It's the same reason why John Kent is not as strong. And sorry, Tavia, why John Kent is not as strong as Superman because he's contaminated by Lois's DNA. I have to bring that in.
Well, oh, okay. Sorry. I thought you were talking about Connor for a moment. Like
No.
the reason why Connor doesn't have the full power set, he's literally half Clark, half
That
Lex.
too. That too. It's the same thing. So I get that. I'm fine with Galatea being weaker because that makes sense. It's just when Superman takes like a shot from a tank and he's like, ah, I'm like, okay. Yet another reason why I like Henry Cavill.
Actually really like the shot in BVS where like the Batmobile just rams into it and it's like it goes off like a ping pong ball. Like,
yeah, I love that. Or like when Batman brings up all those sentry guns and they all like unload on Superman. Even he's like, Bruce, come on, you know this isn't gonna work.
Yeah, I just love like the shot where Superman just rips off the hood and Batman's like, you rang. Like that is like such a power like Batman is such a power move by Batman where like he literally crashed it and then he just rips it off and Batman's like, hi. Like that is such a power move. I love it. Sorry.
I also love, hang on a second. Speaking of that, did Batman really think that was gonna face Superman by trying to hit him with the car?
It was worth a try, I guess.
It was worth a try, I guess. Maybe it was more like like saying, hey, I'm here or something like that. But the point is
also I do think it was kind of like Superman gets kind of popped in the world. I love how he's turning. You see like the lights were right there. Like that was just a well shot scene.
Yes,
but
tell me,
Jared. Tell me, Jared. Do you bleed?
You will. Well, do you know why it's a well shot scene? Because this man was responsible for it.
Yeah, second Warner Brothers.
Yeah, there you go. That very talented man. So,
imagine if Zack Snyder had directed this episode in live action.
Oh, people would have complained. It basically be like people would complain. Why are they fighting in a city? But people would have forgotten that this is a holographic city because that's how these people are. They don't watch the content.
Yeah. And then when you point out it's a city, they're like, we don't care. We're gonna get angry anyway.
Mm-hmm. Now, Nick, let me ask you this: what did you think about the government and the military being responsible for like a lot of threats throughout the Justice League show, even back to JL with like the Royal Flush Gang?
Makes sense because there was a pronounced scene even in JL of the government fearing their power.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like they literally made mention of like, you guys have an orbital station, literally like orbiting our planet. You guys are like Superman. Like Superman is much of a threat, but now you guys have a club. You guys aren't like because here's the thing about Justice League, and this is kind of the genius of the arcs we're going to see in Justice League is the human fears are justified because the Justice League literally alone, a lot of these people are formidable. But they are literally an army.
Well, let's just say in this season, as a matter of fact, of JLU, that certainly comes to a head. And throughout this series, also, the whole orbiting satellite thing comes into, like, people are like, what? So,
especially when they find out what's attached to that orbital station.
Yeah, exactly. But so overall, I really dug this episode. I think it's really cool. Again, the question was freaking hilarious. The question and Green Arrow were my favorite characters in the series. Green Arrow, just for that one dream line, because that was like, that was so good. You can imagine he goes, oh yeah, I had a couple of dreams, some very vivid dreams as he glances over at Black Canary.
I'm sorry.
So Oliver, he would so say that.
I just wish I had like transmedia powers because if I could, I would literally reach the screen and go like bonk.
Yeah, and no, what I would do is I would go behind Black Canary and tap her shoulder so she turns around and sees Green Arrow.
Yeah, no, because like I go bonk, you go to jail.
Yeah. I know what you're going for with that, but and then I love the question in this. It's just it's just the funniest thing because he seems a lot like this tough, crazy character, and then as he breaks into a building, he's singing a boy band song.
Because he just wanted it that way.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted someone to tell him why. Ain't
Yeah,
nothing but a heartbreak.
exactly.
I mean, to him, there's always no strings attached.
yeah, exactly. So Nick, how do you rate this episode out of 10?
9 out of 10. It is a
Yes.
very good episode. I like where they're going. And yeah.
I also like this episode. I can't give it about a 9 out of 10 because here's the thing about media featuring Supergirl. I like when they manage to separate her from Superman and make her a character not wholly dependent upon him, because that's a problem with a lot of Supergirl stuff, because she ends up just being attached at the hip to Clark, and recently kind of goes against that.
Yeah, and that was kind of a problem with with Supergirl in parts, where like in the first season they're always like, "Oh, your cousin, oh, your cousin, oh, your cousin," and like it was obvious they're trying to distance, but they couldn't help themselves. Like, "Oh, your cousin," like they never said Superman's name, but it was always your cousin. Like they couldn't. It's even if they're trying to distance.
She received a text from Superman.
You know, like we like the most we saw was his freaking boots.
Yeah. Or like a shot up and the sun was shining on him. But yeah, it's essentially that. And they did that because they wanted to give you the promise that eventually Superman would show up. And at least we got Tyler Hoechlin out of it, which is not a bad trade. I appreciate that. I still say he is the third best live action Superman.
Okay. Who's second and third? Because obviously Henry Cavill is first. But
With me, it's Cavill. 2 is Reeve.
Okay, we can still be friends.
Okay, good. Yeah. The other ones are still great. Ralph is still great. I count Tom Welling more of a Clark actor than a Superman actor because he didn't get to be Superman.
Here's the thing. If you want to rank Henry Cavill first, that's fine. But Reeve better be second.
Yeah. He is second because of how he defines Superman as a character up until Crisis.
Yeah,
that's the way I say it. But yeah. So that's fairly it. I mean, do you agree with me that like Tom is more of a Clark actor than a Superman actor?
Yeah. Plus, like even to this day, he had like this like I guarantee you, he requested his cameo on the Crisis on Infinite Earth. Be like, hey, what if I don't have any powers? What if I gave them up? Like that just feels. And also, like, if you listen to like his podcast stuff, he's very disparaging of like the life in the tights. Like, you're Superman, Tom. You may try to like,
Superman. Well,
yeah,
if you
at least
the tights, do the new 52 armor, and that's for you, Galatea, with the armor. You don't have to wear tights.
I don't know.
But yeah, that's my favorite thing when actors join these roles and then complain about like the tights, and I'm like, you're playing a superhero.
I do respect Michael Rosenbaum though. Like he's very respectful of like the character of Lex Luthor. I think he was. If we're gonna go like a tangent, I actually think Michael Rosenbaum was a great Lex Luthor. Also, we need to do Smallville rewatch at some point.
Okay, I'm totally down for that, 100%. But on that, yeah, in terms of my favorite Lex Luthors, he's number 2. Eisenberg is number 1.
Okay, so if we're gonna talk Lex Luthor's, my number 1 is Michael Rosenbaum. Number 2 is Gene Hackman.
Okay.
Number 3 is Eisenberg.
Okay, that works. We can still be friends. As long as he's in your top 5, we can still be friends.
Yeah, I feel like Michael Rosenbaum is a very underrated Lex Luthor.
He's
like he
really
could have been
good.
live action. Also
he could have been DCEU Lex easily.
I love how none of us even mentioned Kevin Spacey.
Well, for obvious reasons. And still
see, the thing is, I'm just gonna say because okay, as far as Kevin Spacey's character, I don't think he got the character because obviously he's playing a version of Gene Hackman's character.
Yes.
He obviously he did not even do Gene Hackman's version at all. And even just as the Lex Luthor performance, it was very undercooked in my opinion.
Me too. I agree with you on
I guess
that
you
one.
could say it was very wrong.
I
That
love
is
that one.
literally his defining moment as a character.
Yeah, kryptonite. But
There we go.
but yeah, so so this is a very enjoyable episode. In terms of our next week's episode, we're getting gold with this one. We're talking about Booster Gold, the
We're
greatest
going for
story
the
never
Booster
told.
Gold.
What?
We're going for the Booster Gold.
Yeah, and there's this fantastic moment in the episode. I'm not going to tease it. And then in 2 weeks, it's my favorite episode of the entire series.
So next episode, we're going to learn about childbirth.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. We're going to learn about why kids can't differentiate superheroes, like when that kid says, I thought you were Green Lantern.
Also, just remember to use sheets, especially sheets you're not intending on using anymore.
Exactly. Oh, and by the way, an episode's coming up that has one of the greatest Kevin Conroy moments of all time. I'll talk to you about it off screen. But so on that note, everyone, stay heroic, and we'll see you in the next one. Super Wonderful Life.